reference to 13 Ghosts. Today we're playing a number of adventure games in the pixel style, mostly demos, freeware, prologues for AGS, Linux, Proton, whatever. I have over 300 free-to-play games that I have not ever played. I have 200 demos I have not played. And I play a lot of indie games. I don't always stream them, I just play them, so I feel like maybe I should just go ahead and record whatever the hell I'm interested in possibly playing. Yeah, of course, helping and teaching others and sharing knowledge and learning, that's all part of the enjoyment of life. Otherwise, and just live under a rock and don't talk to anybody. I did that for a number of years also. Yeah, you play the same games over and over and over again, like basically play a few games over and over again and stream some of them, and I own a lot of games I've never played even though I bought them years ago, so I've gone through and started playing some of them, playing the same games over and over again. Plus, you know, there's always a new game tomorrow, always a new game next month, so instead of always trying to get the new game and play the new game, let's go through some of the shit that I own, that I paid for. I mean, this is even a new game. This came out recently, or will come out recently. It's just a demo that's been around for a while. The developer is Spanish. I want to say Mexico. Probably Mexico or near LA. He writes a lot of stuff about LA, Los Angeles. The previous game that I played, very similar, 1980s, LA, crime, stuff like that, is the only game on my entire YouTube playlist library that I put at 18 plus. You must log in to watch this video. The only game. This game seems to deal with Hollywood horror films. The intro is clearly a scene from Friday the 13th. Wait, are you streaming and playing games? Because you unpublish all your VODs, so I can never go back to see your short 1 hour stream of whatever game you were playing and say, hey, you know, cool game, or take a clip of a funny moment or something. So if you want to make your stuff private, that's totally up to you. Just, hey, I never know if you're there doing stuff, because the way I do it, I go to the terminal, I type in Twitch/DL in your username and press videos or whatever, and I go see if you have played any games recently. If you haven't, then hey, move on. Actually, I have a script. I wrote a script to give me videos, clips, highlights, pages, whatever. Yeah, you have some of them saved. At one point, they got deleted somewhere. I can't always be there to watch your streams, but I'll watch the VODs if you are playing a game. Go see what you're playing. If you had any interesting commentary, funny moment. I mean, I highlight a lot of my VODs and they're all on YouTube, so you could always see and hear what I played, what I said, what happened in the game, proton issues, Linux issues, they're there. One of the games I played earlier didn't work properly in proton and also didn't work properly in Linux after putting in the AGS, so it's still there. I'm not going to delete it or hide it. It's a document. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you either. Why do I do that? Time to vote! Yeah, there's millions of games to play. Like, I have complete libraries of NES, Game Boy, SNES, Sega. I don't play them. Good. Also, Steam. There's Linux native games. There's adventure games. There's all the Scum VM games. Yeah, there's a lot of uninteresting games too. Like, I'm pretty cautious about buying games or accepting gifts. Few gifts that I've ever gotten. I've given people games, like really good games, and they liked it, they played it, they appreciated it. Some of them didn't, but I stopped doing that too. I'm trying to get rid of like 80 games from Humble Bundle, and nobody wants a key. I gave away maybe 2 keys, and I posted, the whole list and said pick a game, whatever, and 2 people picked a game. So I think I'm just done trying to give away free games, free Steam keys, anything. I don't know what it is about people and communication, and I don't understand. Plus, I take time off and just watch streams and watch people and lurk a lot. Like, it's all in the background while I'm doing something or playing my own game or whatever, but maybe I should just focus on sometimes playing the games I have and streaming the games or whatever. Just do whatever. Right? I know I don't get very many views on YouTube for these unknown, unpopular games, for sure. I play them anyway. I do go through my list on YouTube and see from the live games what the most viewed are, and you would be surprised. It's mostly Linux, and then it's popular games or demos or Doom. Be surprised what games and where they came from and how they found the video. Very interesting to observe if you're interested in that kind of information. But the games with like 0 views, I don't ever go back and play them. Sometimes I just stop mid-game and stop playing them. So it's not entirely that, you know, putting out a video and 0 people watch it means that it makes me not want to play the game. I will still play the game no matter how many people watch it if I like the game, because I could really care less if you like the game, if it's popular, if people find it. You know, I put a lot of information in the title, in the description, and the tags and everything, so people can find it if they're looking for it. So I don't know. I even put it on Steam. You see on Steam that I upload videos for games. I put the YouTube video on Steam so that if anybody finds it through the video tab on Steam, maybe they'll see it. You know, maybe they're interested. Oh, this guy plays Linux. Oh, he's using Proton. I'm interested in that. Let's go see what else he played. Let's learn from this guy about playing Linux games. It's becoming more and more popular and more common these days, but I'm still putting the information out there that I've been playing and streaming Linux games for 3 years. All kinds of Linux, Proton, Wine, whatever. There's only one game that I streamed that was from Windows because it was an online game that would not work in Linux, because apparently the developer detected that you're playing in Proton and said, oh, you can't do that, and has a screen up that says, you know, your system is not supported, all this stuff. Even though I booted up into the game, I got to the front page, the main menu, all that, but you can't play it, right? That's the only game that I went back, booted into Windows, and played for a few days, and now the game is gone, dead. Called World Adrift. Ever since then, the game doesn't work on Linux, or I paid for it or something. I'm just not going to play it. I don't care anymore. I'm not going to boot up Windows to play a game. And with that, I mean, you have to consider, I've been using Linux for 11 years. I don't use Windows anymore. Pretty much everything that I need is here in Linux. I couldn't even imagine going back to Windows and thinking, man, I wish I had that tool. Oh shit, can I write a batch script for that? Oh damn, can I get a Python going for that? Oh, I can't get this game to work. Can't get this software that I want. I gotta update this. Windows 7 is not supported anymore. You know, fuck all that. You know, compiling software in Windows, all that. I don't want to deal with it, basically. I think that's everything in the room except for the door and the typewriter. In the adventure games, you gotta be careful. Like, you look around at everything that has nothing to do with progressing the story, because you could walk from where you started to the door and just leave and not look at any of the stuff in here in the commentary about all the horror, the films, the directors, the horror fan idiots, jerking off to the magazine over here. You know, you would miss all of that if you didn't look around. And then the typewriter says, go outside. So this game comes out on Steam on the 16th, June 16th, in a few days. I'm not sure if it'll be free to play similar to their itch.io games. This is also on itch.io. Or if they're gonna make this a full game. Yeah, their last game that I played was pretty long, pretty full, pretty feature complete. It was also point and click, pixel style. I don't know if, because it's on Steam, that they're going to charge money for it. I don't know. There's a save menu, right?
And we're kicking off this hour of music with the latest hit by Charisma, California Drive. Those of you behind the wheel right now, I hope listening to this song helps you make the best of this wonderful sunset that I can see from the studio. Enjoy.
I wonder if that's like a commentary on the Vine videos and TikTok, like clip 24/7. I think it's talking about music, but 1985. So MTV was 1981. I think they're talking about 1985 MTV. Sounds a lot like David Bowie, but also I would suggest that this developer includes audio music from copyrighted material. So if that's your concern, you should just not play it on YouTube, stream it, mute the video, whatever, I don't care. He does include music that he doesn't own and has no right to distribute. Yeah, so it is a reference to MTV. "13-second flickering, flashing." Is that 13 seconds? Let's watch. It is, in fact, exactly 13 seconds between the flashes. And there's going to be at 44 now. Yeah, 13 seconds. Why? I'm always trying to paint a picture of the main character, like attention to detail, observant.
simplistic charisma. We'll be going back to him later on, but first let's take a break for commercials. Stay tuned.
They thought he wasn't real.
Calm down, Stephanie. It's just a legend.
They thought they were safe. They were wrong. Lunatic. Pretty hard.
Yep, very common. Like Starbucks who have bachelor's degree working at Starbucks because they don't know what they're doing with their life. So they just stay at Starbucks. That looks familiar. Polyester, John something. The director of Polyester.
We just heard Too Late, the latest single by Self Delusion, which serves as a tease to their next album, Happiness Hurts Me. Now we're going back to Italy with the keyboards of Vincenzo Salvia, who along with the vocals of Eclisma will take us all the way to Paris. Wouldn't you love to be there? I sure would.
Twilight Zone. Well, he does have a good point. There's also some limit. Even Rod Serling said the same thing about writing for TV, that drama
I think it's criminal that we're not permitted to make dramatic notes of social evils as they exist, of controversial themes as they are inherent in our society. I think it's ridiculous that drama, which by its very nature should make a comment on those things that affect our daily lives,
You smiled. Hope you guys are reading along because I'm not saying anything. Not gonna voice act, not gonna repeat what it says, shit goes by too fast. I don't talk that fast. That's generally how it's gonna be. I don't want to voice act and narrate all the lines. I appreciate some YouTubers and streamers that do that, but I'm not reading everything on the screen. If you're not paying attention, I guess you're just here for the ambiance or the art. You don't care about the story, that's fine. I'm reading the story, that's what I'm interested in. The visuals, the music, and the story. The gameplay is just, it's adventure game. Not much. Not sure why I asked them multiple times.
Remember the first hit from Self-Delusion? That one was Pride. Time flies all right, doesn't it? Mark Clark will be with you in a minute, and he will be interviewing Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo. I'll leave you in good hands with something that has just arrived to the station. Turn Back Time, the new single from Decade Defector, exclusive for Sitwave Radio. This was Karen Johnson. It's been a pleasure. See you all tomorrow. Love you. Stand playing.
Don't have any coin. There is taxi commentary, but it just went straight to the diner. We got mansion, productions, Joe's Diner. I think that was a good place to start. More backstory. Nothing at home. I don't know about this Peter Evans mansion thing. It's either before or after the production. And then you have to go to this mansion. Yeah, speaking of aliens, this guy looks like the android in Alien. Get his name. Terrible with names. I see a visual. I don't remember words and names. I'm a visual person. I'm an engineer. I'm a thinker. I don't give a shit about people's names. Even at work, I don't say people's names at work. Is that bad? I don't know. Who knows? It's just me. Sounds familiar. It came from the desert. Came from the desert. We got Starlog, Fangoria. Fighters, you talking about 1955? I think the film is called Tarantula. 1955 game that I streamed recently. Did he make it came from the desert and Tarantula? But yeah, it's very good commentary about companies going bankrupt, being bought by somebody else, no money going to the people that worked on the film or created the film or wrote the film or starred in the film. And they just keep re-releasing the movies on DVD, VHS, Blu-ray, all that kind of shit, and putting it in theaters, retro 1950s from the 80s, 30 years ago, so everybody's interested in the 1990s now. 1980s it was. And the money doesn't go to the people, maybe a few actors or something, but yeah. I don't like movie business industry. I don't think it should be 95 years copyright, 70 years after death, whatever shorter. In Canada, it's 50 years. I think they have an exception clause for if the person's death is 70 years, I believe, or if they're still alive and they're still copyrighted, or if it's from another country. Not exactly sure in Canada. I tried to read up on it a little bit. I know in the UK it's like 75 years or 70 or 75 years, 50 for some, and something like that. Basically public domain. But I'm trying to think of the statute of limitations for those. I'd say that this guy looks like Hayden Christensen, said his name, the Star Wars guy, whatever. Lady looks familiar too, like they drew the art from a portrait of somebody famous. Wouldn't be surprised if they just took some famous Hollywood people's portraits and drew them in pixel art. Fright Night is a film I haven't seen. I actually would like to see the full film. I've seen clips of it, parts of it. I've seen posters on my list. Good point. Rear Window came first. $1985 internet right there. $1978 is an interesting year to make note of in this because copyright. There are books from the 1930s through 1960s about registration of copyright. 1978 is an interesting number. Yeah, 510 works fine. I was using 470, but 510 now has Vulkan 1.3, which is required for certain DXVK. I think it's DXVK because of a new pipeline render in it. So if you want to use Proton, at least the newer Proton, then you're going to require using Vulkan 1.3 as a minimum. Fortunately, even if the game doesn't use it, whatever, because Vulkan DXVK requires it, probably won't run without a newer driver. So they use older Proton, stage driver, just stop buying computers. But that's the new one. No, don't use NVIDIA server. I don't know what that is exactly, but you use NVIDIA driver. And if you want to stay actually up to date, you should, if you're using Ubuntu, you want to add the Ubuntu graphics driver PPA. It will keep you updated on the very latest drivers for NVIDIA. Or you could use the repo, but they're going to stop updating, you know, probably in less time than you're going to use that version of Ubuntu. But I think the official version for my version of Ubuntu is like 4 years ago. Okay, yeah, you don't really need any of that stuff. The libvulkan, the base, what you need really. It comes with the driver. It's part of the dependency of the driver. But if you use MPV, it has Vulkan. So if you watch a movie or something, you could use Vulkan. You could use OpenGL. You could use CPU. You know, but it is a requirement of MPV now that you have a Vulkan capable graphics card and driver. Not sure about VLC. I don't think they're. I mean, they might be using Vulkan if it's an option. You don't need the SDK, honestly. I get it just to keep updated and have Vulkan info and VK Cube and things like that. I mean, it's not required. The SDK, Lunar NG, Vulkan SDK, because your driver provides you with Vulkan. The Ubuntu graphics driver PPA does not have the experimental feature set of 495 and 515. Can't get those there. Probably would have to go directly to the proprietary .run file. Wanted that, but you probably don't need it. It's more of like it says, the experimental and new features. So you're probably not going to need it for whatever you're doing unless you're on the bleeding edge. You're using new cutting edge software, new kernels, and all that kind of stuff. Especially if you're developing things, and you probably want to have the newest, latest, greatest, which is those experimental feature sets. And I think day to day, you could use 470, you could use 510 with your 1080 Ti, your 1080p, 1080, NVIDIA 1080. You're not getting a lot of new features or fixes, and if you're not playing new games, like the latest game that came out yesterday or whatever, and there's no driver updates for you that you need. You don't need to update. Stay with what works. And wait for some sort of feature to come out. Like, I updated because of Vulkan 1.3. Tested it, ran the test, I did some, there's software that detects which Vulkan support you have, and I submitted it to the website so that they have a log of Linux Mint, version 470, version 510, has this feature set, doesn't have that feature set, boom, done, you know, it's not complicated. Somebody in the future can look up and say, oh, you require 510 for Vulcan 1.3, DXBK and Vulcan D3D. The BK D3D now requires 1.3. Boom, there you go, there's a document somewhere out there for you. Yeah, you don't need 515. You don't need it. It's experimental. It has new features that are being tested. They're going to get backported to 510 eventually, but you don't need 515, 495. You don't need that stuff. They're testing their new open source kernel module, probably in 515. You don't need the bleeding edge. No reason for it. Yeah, same thing with the kernel. Like 5.17 just came out, just released. 518 isn't official yet. It's still being worked on. It's still a development branch. So it's not something you should be able to go download and test out. It's for developers and beta testers. Like I have kernel 5.4. It's old, but it's the long-term branch. So I get backports. They backport things from the newer kernel into the old kernel, if possible, and security fixes, things like that is still supported. 5.4 is still being worked on, the long-term support branch. I don't have any reason to use 517, 5.15 with the newer Ubuntu. If I switch to the newer Ubuntu, sure, I'll take 515, I don't care. For my drivers, for my system, for my hardware, there's not a lot of new kernels, kernel code, firmware, any of that. Modules, my system is so old that there's no reason to even upgrade any further than I have, which is way beyond the expected life expectancy of this system. Technically 415, kernel 415, 4.15 is still long-term support, still gets backports, still gets updates. I think it's 415 or 419, one of those. Whatever came with Ubuntu 18.04. I would not worry about how much RAM Chrome is using. You got 32 gigs, you're not gonna have an issue with it unless you have like 1,000 tabs open or something. You're watching 6 movies at the same time. You don't need to worry about RAM. RAM is faster than, loading something from the disk every time, or caching from the disk every time, or every time you open something, it's gotta unpack all this shit and download it again. Just leave the RAM in the RAM. It's not doing anything. I can tell you how much RAM I'm using right now. Let's look at the RAM. 40% in use by programs, and that's OBS is using 1.4 gigs. Java, which is Chatty, and Chatty's using 1.1 gigs. On this side over here, we got Steam is open using, about a lot of fucking RAM. more than a gig on Steam. Chromium is open. It's using like 4 or 5 gigs of RAM. I don't care. It's not doing anything. Sure, maybe Firefox uses less RAM. Maybe it's faster. That's fine. I chose to abandon Firefox way long time ago back in the ESR, like version 52 or version 56 or whatever. I abandoned Firefox long time ago. I had to get used to Chromium, but now that I have everything that I need in Chromium, I don't have to go back to Firefox or LibriFox or some more open source edition of Firefox. Because if you look at it, Firefox is not truly open source. Neither is Chromium, right? You look at them, you look at their license, they're not open source. A lot of stuff in them that are not. Like Vivaldi is not open source. It uses PEF, which is open source, but it's not itself open source. It doesn't comply with certain open source free licenses, and you can't get the source code for Firefox. You can get it was called Gecko. You can get the Gecko source code, which is what Firefox is built on. And it's owned by Mozilla. Gecko's owned by Mozilla, but its license is not too restrictive. I forgot to ask. Scientology. I think they're making fun of Scientology in the 80s. I remember I used to walk past the university and there was a very large building of Scientology next to the campus, next to the bookstore. There's literally nobody ever went in there. Nobody stood around outside. They kind of like avoided that place. I think I've looked at everything here, you know. Damn computer. I'm not really digging this music in this scene. Too upbeat. But especially for the 80s, not feeling it. little funky. You go back and try to find some useful resources or videos about learning some basics and fundamentals of Linux, how to use bash, tips and tricks, different commands. You go back and try to educate yourself on some of those things so that you have a better time working in Linux. Obviously you don't need to use the the terminal, but it's going to help you. Like in Windows, people are afraid of the command line, but I would often control Windows R and then type in command and go into a command line very often. Just a faster way to get information to navigate around in Windows, whatever Windows had. I don't even use like the menus on my Linux. I have top bar with some basic tools that I use, like Chromium, Killwine, Steam, Stream, Discord, FreeTube, Terminal, Paint. You know, that's it. That's what I really use the operating system for. Everything else I hit what is it? The Windows button, Control Windows button T? One of those commands, I forget what the hell it is, opens up your terminal. You just pop open a terminal with your keyboard, but there's also the button up there at the top. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terminals open right now. NVTop, BP, VTop, ++, the Phantom bot, OBS Studios running from a terminal so that I can see the log if I need to. And because my internet's been kind of weirdly spotty lately, I have a ping going to whatever 9999 continuously so it doesn't lag out my internet for whatever reason. It's been getting better. I think it's more Twitch. Watching Twitch, you would stall and delay and lag out, but I don't drop frames, it's just receiving them that gives me issues occasionally. I mean, I wish I could offer you like more direct, here's the terms you need to learn kind of thing, but it's more of you learn how you want to learn. But I'm just recommending that you learn the basics of the terminal, because eventually you're going to want to learn how to read scripts or how to do something in the terminal, and you could always just go, hey Google, how do I do this in Linux? And you'll go to the Stack Exchange and it'll tell you some wrong answers, it'll give you a good answer, it'll give you an example, but then you need to take that example and understand how to write it out to do what you want to do. Some of my scripts are really fucking complicated, but they're only using just basic bash scripting, bash terminal commands. One that I wrote 2 days ago, Thursday was MV Border. So the game I was playing, Cradle, didn't want to stay full screen on the second window, and I couldn't get rid of the border on the top, like, you know, the window manager basically. If I went full screen and wanted to go to the left window, so I had to play it in a window, but instead of being able to resize the window, maximize the window, position the window or anything, it just stayed as 1920 by 1080. So I wanted to remove the border, make a full screen, and stay on the right window at all times. So I wrote a script. All it's doing is looking at window manager controller. It uses xprops, it uses some commands like grep to remove and add things and search for things. And all it does is says, is Cradle running? If it's running and it's in the window list, move it over there, remove the borders, keep it over there. If it moves or it's not running, then stop. I have that script for a few games. I found a way to make Battlefield 1942 work correctly finally. That was with DX window, DX wrapper. But I spent some of last night rewriting a bit of my Battlefield 1942 script so that it doesn't catch the chat, because the chat has the title Battlefield 1942 in it, and it doesn't catch like folder, or doesn't catch, you know, some other window that's up with the same name. It's useful to understand scripting of Bash and the basic tools that you have available. How to look at the man file, which is a manual. You can go online and do the same thing. How to look up information about software, which is like app list, app show, app search. It'll give you a little description. It's not a lot. I don't think it's complicated. I think it is the fundamental basics. And it helps you so that you improve your understanding and you can use the system better. And that's what Linux is really about, to give you an open system to where you could do a lot of things. And my firewall down there connected to the modem is running on Linux, running on Debian, on a MIPS CPU. It is dead old and doesn't get updates anymore. Unfortunately, I think the last update was like a year ago, roughly a year ago. I don't think they're going to continue updating. They dropped support for that. I'm looking at one of the BSD derivatives that supports MIPS and was suggested and reported to work on the system. But inside, you believe it or not, inside the firewall is a USB stick, 4 gig USB stick that has all the data on it. Reports suggest that USB stick is not good and will eventually fail. I need to open it up, take out the USB stick, clone an image of it, save it, buy another USB stick that fits in there. It could be 8 gigs because of the way Flash works. Better write endurance on it, get a bigger one. Because if you're only using 4 gigs, the rest of it's just being used as backup. Put that in there, boot in the BSD image. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, you can do all this crazy stuff. But I haven't gotten that far yet on the firewall. I did the research, I looked at it. I need to find the flash drive and do an update and a backup. Just like learning networking, I remember you saying something about a network file server or something. You were looking at like NetBSD or something. You were talking about things that I don't think that you fully understand enough networking. You don't have the skill in networking to just deep dive into that. There's a lot of tools, a lot of background information you should probably understand and have experience with before, well, I'm just going to go buy the hardest thing on the market and go just try to get it to work, right? I'm sure that you can get there, but the learning curve will be much sharper for you because you don't have the background in networking. I mean, you don't need to understand how binary works, how the Ethernet transfers data, how to convert hexadecimal, to do subnet masking. You don't need to know that stuff, but knowing, especially like subnet masking, what it is, what it means, how to use it in an operating system, that's still a fundamental of networking. how to do that. What are the tools to communicate? You know, you got ping, you got ifconfig, ipconfig for Windows, trace route. Have all these tools for networking that are command line. You need to know how to set up the firewall, how to manage and administer a modem or a router, a firewall, things that you can get experience with, but deep diving off into, I know very minimal, to I'm going to get one of the hardest things to set up and maintain, seems a little risky to me, which is why I still don't recommend putting time into a Raspberry Pi, for instance. Don't jump off into a Raspberry Pi without some more understanding of Linux itself. But what do I know? Honestly, I'm sitting here playing a retro-inspired 1985 pixel game about a horror screenwriter, right? Screenshot that one. Okay. Good. Lower the music was starting to irritate me. I'd rather. What are you doing here? Well, I think yeah, that's a really dumb question. Why did he do that? Well, yeah, nobody fucking knows. makes an interesting point about 1985 films. Teenagers are all over the films. They're the ones buying tickets. You think back to like the 1950s and 60s, the drive-ins, the same thing. You could even say in the 70s it was the same thing. Even through the 90s and the 2000s, kids and teenagers and young adults are the ones buying the tickets to the films, spending all the money. And then the parents of the children, well, I don't know, it's questionable because who was it? American International Studios, AIS, I think it was. AIG, AIS? American International something. One of their top directors, creators, whoever, had a phrase about sex and violence in films, and their motto. You can look it up. I'm gonna go look. Also, not forget to say. Get there from American International Picture. I know how to find it from Hammer Horror. Foreman Corporation. Uh, Publicity Department. The Peter Pan Syndrome. At your greatest audience, you zero in on the 19-year-old male. So a younger child will watch anything an older child will watch. An older child will not watch anything a younger child will watch. A girl will watch anything a boy will watch. A boy will not watch anything a girl will watch. Therefore, greatest audience, you zero in on the 19-year-old male. And then you got Arc Off, which is action, revolution, killing, oratory, fantasy, and fornication. That was the 1980 American International Pictures. Why? Because that's what sold. It sold movie tickets. One thing I really like about this game is all the references to horror films. Because I can have it. Where'd you get those shades? Have you seen this boy? Well, that was interesting. I'll tell these guys, see what they think. Nothing. Couldn't be more wrong about that, buddy. I wanted to talk to a lawyer, see what happened. Just checking. See if these guys got anything.
The latest single by Self-Delusion, which serves as a tease to their next album, Happiness Hurts Me. Now we're going back to Italy with the keyboards of Vincenzo Salvia, who along with the vocals of Eclisma will take us all the way to Paris. Wouldn't you love to be there? I sure would.
Everybody's trying to give somebody scene writing. Hey, I got a great idea for a film here. Show it to you. I didn't show them the 3D glass. Go back here. I'm actually interested in seeing the conversations the taxi drivers give you also. Bet I can give that to somebody. Oh yeah, it's a good place. That's a good place. It's very similar to that other game I played also. Have you seen this boy? Cannibal Holocaust. Film was definitely banned. Have I seen it? No, I have not. It's on the list. Know what the hell it's about and why it was banned. That's a harsh one. The taxi driver, hippie chick, like, hey man, have you seen Cannibal Holocaust? I don't think that's the kind of film she's interested in. Light is what? Is that the new one? Yeah. I can't go in any of these things. Prejudice. He's using the phrase about the movie missing in action too. Strange. I know that the Spanish writer that writes all these games is pretty prejudiced, racist in a way. He's just trying to give you a real taste of the 80s, but hell. And believe me, I've known some racist people in my time. I wonder if these faces also are famous people, actors. Well, I know that could be the goatee. That'll be somebody with a goatee. Looks Hispanic. Wish you can get more dialogue though. I mean, why would they give you the option to turn the dialogue off? I don't know where to go anymore. Damn, the TV's loud.
I'll leave you in good hands with something that has just arrived to the station. Turn Back Time, the new single from Decade Defector, exclusive for Sick Radio.
Turn Back Time.
This is Karen Johnson. It's
Share.
a pleasure. See you all tomorrow. Love you.
See if it's similar. Turn Back Time. Probably just sit here and watch MTV for the rest of the day, man. Curious to know who he got to write the songs. I know in the last game they had one song that was directly copyright from an old 1960s Spanish singer. These seem like parodies of 1980s songs somebody wrote. Uh, 1985, Mr. Gorbachev. It did move Soviet Russia in a few weeks, right? So, who was it? Reagan, I believe. Mr. Gorbachev tear down this wall. Yeah, you got some things about the 80s. People. Anything else here to do? Came back, he was just sitting there, oh yeah, Mr. Gorbachev, yeah. I'm actually more curious about the dialogue of these guys. Taxi drivers. I could really just drive back and forth. Bachelor Party? I don't think I've seen that. I thought he was more famous from the underrated Turner and Hoop. It's illegal, right? Yeah, that was popular in the 80s. Workout videos. Didn't work out, did it? I agree with that. Imitation of their idols. People still do that. They dress up like famous people. Imitation. Got to translate that one there, buddy. So where are we going? This guy's into porn, that's cool. browser. Got that one. Oh, good lord. Synthwave radio. Guys on that retro wave. I wouldn't keep the baseball bat in the trunk. I'd keep it in the passenger floorboard. It was pretty entertaining, almost more entertaining than the script of the game. Maybe we could play Quiz 85. Cool. I think we're starting over on the dialogues. So, one more. I like the randomness. Guess we ran out of dialogue. One more to make sure. See if it loops. Yep. Oh, now what? I've got a wallet here. I need coins to play that, aid. But maybe continue writing, but I don't know. Be able to go into the pawn shop, you know? I don't know. I'll just look it up, eh? See what the Steam discussion says. Got demo in Spanish. El Festival Last 1900 demo. Demo feedback with the video. Great, thanks. Journalist. Neil Gordon. Ruskin. Lynn Bishop. Was it? Talk to Lynn Bishop. Masters of Horror. Cigarette Burns. Hills Turn Red. Great demo, and then they go off into bitching about the game. And then crash the game, yeah. Maybe is off if wow, look at that. Guy shows up. Had to come here. Instead of crashing the game. Terror zone. He's got a point, but then you got someone like Shannon Teller. Yeah, there you go. Buy some horror toys, kids. Know that they made Freddy Krueger toys, very limited edition. Goblin, please. What is that? Like a goblin, please. But I don't have 7 TV on Caddy. But it's there, yeah, if you want to use it. Even forgot what the hell it was. A goblin. I don't remember. Did it show up on the screen? I think it shows up on the screen, it just doesn't show up in my Caddy. Do it again. Give me another goblin, please. Yeah, that one. That's vine sauce. Yeah, I can't see it in chat. The only one that I found on that horrendous emote website. I went over there, I looked at the emotes, I saw the top 500 were exact same things that are on BTTV and FFZ and the ones that everybody uses. Then I kind of looked at it and shrugged, thinking, wow, this is pretty bad. Yeah, there's a few from Gage channel I like. The blah 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 and the pizza horns, cat horns, I like those, but I understand, blah blah blah, everybody uses it. A lot of people use it, because it's a black box with eyes and a tongue. It's pretty cool. But, like, everybody's got those damn Pepe emotes, and they get boring. And they just make emotes based, they make their own emotes based on the Pepe emotes with their own face on it. Shit like that. Like, oh, it's so bad. So what do? I upload an emote from a French horror film from 1926. Nobody's gonna use that because they don't know what the fuck it is. Oh, we had multiple choices to stay there. So yeah, this is kind of a horror adventure game. You're a horror writer. Everything around you is horror films, horror references to films, Hollywood actors, people trying to get famous actors, all that kind of shit. And somebody just died. And this guy, business CEO, all he cares about is money. He cares about morals, values, ideas, inspiration. He sees money. The Scientology guy outside is like, oh, that can make us some money. Let's Some Scientology. Yeah, if you could actually name each of the Ninja Turtles in one of their most famous art pieces, you're doing better than most people. So you have to name the artist and the piece together, not just random. Leonardo's Mona Lisa. Raphael, I don't remember what he's famous for. What about Casey Jones? Was he famous for being a knockoff of Jason Voorhees? But it's not unusual, you know, it's not unusual at all. Great, so now I figured this is probably going to be soon to the end of the demo, I don't know. This is still just a 3-hour long demo. I am looking at everything. I wish that the middle mouse button didn't advance dialogue, and that dialogue didn't just automatically advance by itself, but could turn down the speed. I don't want to continue clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking to advance dialogue. But I still think the taxi part's like one of the coolest part of the game, just in the gameplay aspect. So, be unique. I believe I own that, yeah. So I want to look at this intro again, right at the end of the intro where this is like a reenactment of the film Lunatic. Tommy's like Friday the 13th character. Dream Guys. If I do own that, I either have played like an hour or two of it, or I have not played it at all. I'll be able to look here in a minute. You like that little dingle in the background? So that was Nightmare Frames demo coming out on the 16th. Full game, full ending, a lot of content for an AGS game, Adventure Game Studio. The name of the engine. Let me give a look to Noctropolis. I think so. No. Look at the game. Didn't Zeke play this? On my wish list. I could play it sometime. looks like something I'm interested in. It's on my wish list, probably on my game list. MS-DOS or Windows 3.1, most likely. But today is newer indie adventure point-and-click games. I have one more. I went through my Steam folder of like 2 gigs of data, typed find space dot space asterisk type grep AC setup to find out all the AGS games, and then I looked for CEF games. I have quite a few of those. Basically trying to clean up, like I have 100, 200 games installed from Steam. I just filled up the drive, installed everything, and I don't know, just for offline, whatever. I don't know why I did it, but most of them are demos. I have more demos than I have actual games installed. And then I think the next test will be to get some of the ones that are like time limited demos to move them, add non-Steam game, and try to see if I can play them. It did work before on a few games, but not all of them. See if I can get them to play, even though they say purchase on Steam. I still have the demo installed. I have to be careful on some of those because if you update the game where it says you have to update, it might actually be removing the game entirely. A case in 1 or 2 of those I noticed. I had files, I updated the game, and the files were gone. That's not how demos are supposed to work. But, you know, I get it. Demo is limited time, play the demo, you like it, wishlist is buy the game. Don't just go play nothing but free demos. But back in the spirit of demos and shareware, you keep the demos and the shareware forever. Like a couple of companies have stated, they will not have time-limited demos and remove the demos from Steam. After they release the game full, 100% released, the demo is going to still be there, even though you can buy the full game. That's the way it should be. Steam has plenty of fucking space. You paid $100 to put your game on there or whatever. Just keep the demo. Not like all these free games, free to play. In my list, I have 372 free to play games, 206 demos, and 109 that I've marked as demo purchase, so you can't play them in Steam. I don't think you could even play them offline Steam. I think I checked that one time. 123 horror games, 190 that say they support Linux. 45 retro, or not always retro. But up next, I have one of those free-to-play adventure games. We're gonna hop off of here. Don't know how long it is. I don't know how complicated it is. It's another adventure mystery game, classic 1990s point-and-click. Solve a murder. Let's go play that.